Well, it's
So
so wonderful to be back here with you.
I know it's so wonderful to have you. We're recycling this thing through. I'm such a fan. I've been looking through all of your questions, and if there's anything, I'm so excited to hear about it. If there's anything I miss or don't go over, or you want to just add on, just go ahead and backtrack or go where you need to go.
No problem. And this is going to be great because I don't even remember what I asked you to ask me. So this will be completely spontaneous. What are we talking about again?
That's the funnest interviews. It's just, I find anything that I practice for and get ready too much for, I get hitched up
Hmm.
and it doesn't feel natural. And then when I go in blind, that's when it's kind of like, okay,
Well,
that was smooth.
absolutely, because it's the difference between being like engaged and actively listening and being in your head trying to remember what it is that you said you needed it to do. So yeah,
Exactly. All right. Well,
yeah.
I think we can get into it. Everybody
Let's
sees
do it.
our awesome backdrop. So here we go. I'm just going to
Yeah.
start with a little intro here, folks. My name is Alexis. I work with Mastermind Adventures. That's a team of creative individuals who are working on conquering isolation and loneliness through play and fun. So, one of our initiatives is our Game Master for Hire. We have so many amazing, creative, storytellers, artists, performers working together to give you an awesome gaming experience. And today we will be talking with Greg Crafts. Hello,
Hey
Greg.
guys,
How are you
how's it
doing?
going? Hanging in there, doing all right. I'm really excited. I got my first vaccine shot last week.
Oh, no
So
way. Good for you.
yeah,
Awesome.
so out here in California, food delivery drivers qualify, and I've been at my other side hustle has been driving Postmates. So it was quite the pleasant surprise to find out that I qualified. So I got Pfizer in my arm last week, and now we're one step closer to getting out of this. So, or at least I am, and I've been helping friends make appointments all week long. So that's been really good stuff, and getting close. Talking about conquering loneliness, that'll be a big step. We can all be around tables with each other again. I'm really looking forward to that. But in the meantime, I've really come to love gaming online with people. It's been a quite a fun experience. I mean, I got my Monday night games, Roots in the Shackled City, streaming live on Twitch, 7 o'clock Pacific. It's always archived on YouTube. You can check it out on there. So, yeah, sorry, quick plug. Just had to
No,
sneak it in there.
perfect.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're here for. We want to know all about your games and your style. And it is such a good point to make about, it's been rough not being able to see everyone in person, but the skills you gain. I mean, just alone what I've learned about technology this past year,
Oh yeah.
huge.
Well,
It's
and life, I don't want to make light of this situation at all because this has been incredibly serious. But I didn't know anything about streaming at all before this all started. I thought Twitch was something that the kids. I'm turning 40 this year, so I feel old, but the kids watch. And uh, now I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's fire this thing up. I got the bit rate, I got the frame rate, I got I was like, oh,
Yeah, look at you now.
we all wind up kind of going on our own adventures with this and in this as we try to navigate it as best we can. And that part of that is learning a bunch of new skills, and part of that is just being flexible and adapting. So yeah, and that's a whole lot of flexibility and a whole lot of adaptation going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, it's a beautiful perspective to have on it. That's about what we've got right now. So we have to keep it
Yeah.
steady, and it's a lot of learning, a lot of
Yeah.
lessons. So
I think my favorite saying on the matter, just to shoehorn this in there as well, is Jimmy Buffett has a quote, and it's if we couldn't laugh, we'd all go insane.
oh, I agree.
Yeah.
110%. That's so true. I think
Hmm.
I was a really big fan of Carrie Fisher in like the mental health world. And
Oh, sure.
yeah, my favorite quote ever from her was, if my life weren't funny, it would just be true. And that would be unacceptable. So it goes,
Oh God, that's so perfect.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's such her style of comedy and keeping that tongue in cheek and finding the laugh in a dark space. So
Yeah.
anyway, Greg, let's get right into this. I want to
All
know
right.
about secrets of Barrow Maze. Did I say that correctly?
Secrets of the Barrow Maze. I'm so excited about this. I had to go out and geek out and get it
Oh,
from So, Secrets of the Barrow Maze. First off, the Barrow Maze Complete is a mega dungeon written by Dr. Greg Gillespie. And this is 300 plus rooms. This is literally plus the surrounding areas. Okay, so there's not just like the 300 plus room mega dungeon of barrows, but there's 3 villages, and then there's a mountain range, there's a swamp, there's other hidden secrets and dungeons in there. I've inserted a whole nother module and hidden it inside one of the locations in this adventure for this campaign. So like there's a whole, people might even wind up playing a whole nother module inside of this, but that I'm getting ahead of myself here. So yeah, so a mega dungeon basically is a supersized dungeon that you have to crawl through and explore. This is very old school, so there are some, if you fail your saving throw, you're dead effects. Like this goes back to the Gary Gygax days of D&D. So there is that hardcore element of like legit risk. There's also the, most of what we generate here is random encounters. So if I roll that you encounter a lich and you're only level 3, you encounter a lich and you're only level 3, you better run, So like there's, I really kind of dig that just that element of danger and risk, because as much as I like the 5th edition stuff and as much as I like even some of the previous editions, the old school edition was very level agnostic in terms of encounters. They didn't have challenge ratings and ratings like, oh, this is deadly, this is simple, this is it was like, yeah, you roll up to the tavern and there's a giant red dragon sitting on top of it. Roll for initiative. It's like it was kind of like, I don't care if you've got 6 hit points or 600. Like this is what you're encountering right now. Mm-hmm. So there was always that element of like, I might really need to flee this battle and be smart, or this is my moment to go out in a blaze of pointless glory. Like there's. There's just risk to it. And I like the fact that this kind of unabashedly embraces that again. So what I'm running, Secrets of the Barrow Maze, is going to be a West Marches style mega dungeon crawl. And, I already talked about kind of like what a mega dungeon is. And literally, let me tell you, like folks who play dungeon crawls already know that something that goes 300 rooms is gonna be literally years worth of content. Yes. Even if you played weekly, it's literally years of content. If you play once a week, years and years. Yeah. So that just gives you the sense of the scale. And like I said, and that's just the main dungeon. I've hidden a whole other module in here in another location, that if you stumble on the location, you'll wind up playing a whole separate module that goes along thematically, but is completely different. So that's just like including for mystery and intrigue and a little change of pace. But then we have. Oh, I'm sorry. Go on.
No. I'm sorry. I'm getting caught up. I'm adding in extra questions. I always do this.
Please. No. I whatever you want to know. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious. How long does it take you to concoct such a to build out the gaming world for something so much more complex?
I think I've done already about 40 hours worth of prep on this, and I still feel underprepared.
Wow.
I mean, there's a lot because there aren't any Roll20 resources. So that there is like the whole, okay, I have to set up the whole digital assets and get the maps built and build up the dynamic lighting and get all the tokens, and then I build all the I import all of the encounters into D&D Beyond and do all of that paperwork. And sometimes I have to create new homebrew monsters because there's a whole bunch of original stuff in here that's not in D&D Beyond that I have to account for if I want to make it simple for my players. So there's a whole bunch of bookkeeping and stuff that I have to do just in advance, just to have this ready to run. But I think it's all going to be worth it. I am tremendously psyched about this. I'm really, really excited. And I picked this because it's got such a really fun setting. It's set in a duchy, just like that you can kind of drop anywhere on almost any map. It's kind of like, boom, if you've got an area that has a swamp, a forest, and a small mountain range, you could just kind of turn this and twist it until it fits and then just drop it in. And I thought that was excellent. I'm dropping this in the Forgotten Realms because that's just the easiest for everybody. But what I'm that's the best way to put this. What I also like about it is that it feels very self-contained inside of that bubble. It's its own ecosystem. And you have everything that you need for your story and your adventures right there, because you've got three different towns that you're going to be based in and out of at various points that you can travel between. Like I said, you've got the different, you've got the main dungeon, you've got the other module dungeon hidden elsewhere on the map that you have to go and crawl and find. And I like this because I've decided I'm going to run this West Marches style. And what that means is that D&D originally, the original D&D rules said that it was for 10 to 50 players.
Wow.
The original Dungeons and Dragons. And the way that works is that you didn't want to have 10 guys sitting at the table at once. Although I have run for parties that large before, it's possible. It's really tough just to keep it all going and even, especially because, combat and everything bogs everything down. But you could do role play for 10 if it's mostly talking heads and things. But the original D&D rules, they were much lighter. And they were built off of wargaming rules and kind of like, you can have characters with names and stats as opposed to this regiment of elven archers and this regiment of dwarven fighters that, run onto the battlefield and roll the dice and see what happens. That's so the role-playing game that we know as D&D was originally kind of an add-on to Chainmail, which was fantasy tactical combat gaming. So a lot of the original rules still have that kind of like large-scale feel to them. Well, the West Marches concept basically it kind of brings a lot of that back, where I, as the dungeon master, have this prepped I have a whole bunch of this prepped at any given moment ready to go. And I've set up dungeon tiles that I can mix and match and remix to create all the different maps and things like that on the fly as we go. That'll take a little bit of practice, but I really can't practice it until I'm in the moment. So we'll see how well this works.
Well, that's part of the beauty of just game mastering over time, right? You kind of build up that muscle memory of being able to pull and improvise and work with your new strategies.
Absolutely. So I'm hoping that I have a whole set of theories in my head about how this is going to work out, and of course, what is it? Murphy's law that one of Murphy's laws of combat is that no plan ever survives first implementation.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm full of pith. I have a whole helmet full of pith practically, so that's just pithy sayings. But West Marches, anyhow, basically it goes back to that old school feeling where you have a pool of anywhere from 10 to 50 players, and I'm organizing them on the Mastermind Discord. So if people want to play, they join the Mastermind Discord, and I have a virtual job board up there that's located outside the Early Grave Tavern. The tavern was originally named something a lot saucier in the module, but I've changed since this whole thing is sitting on top of a barrow, which is a graveyard. I've renamed the inn the Early Grave because I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, at that internally, just because you're going to get your tasks from the Early Grave, so you better be prepared for this one, you better be ready to get into it.
Oh, absolutely. And it's and I'm sure that there are plenty of jokes that my players will hopefully start to write as we do this about all that. But we have a virtual job board set up where I put up plot hooks where it's I already have encounters and everything thumbnailed out that I will expand upon when I know that somebody wants to play one of those. Or I have this option that's just go with the flow, and that's I will generate a set of encounters for you that can go for 2 to 3 hours. Each session is going to be about 2 to 3 hours, and you go into the barrow maze and have a bunch of encounters, actually exploring it yourself. So that's but the best part about using Discord is that I want this pool of players all chatting in the channels, sharing information, talking in character as their characters. And when I put up a new prompt or a new piece of information or a new job on the board, the players can all get into the channel. I've set aside a whole channel for mustering a table. They organize a party themselves and then message me and say, hey, we want to play Tuesday at 7. Are you available? And this is the plot hook we want to play.
Yeah.
And as long as I've got 24 hours notice and I'm available, game on.
Yeah.
Like, so, so it's like, if you want to play Tuesday, I'm in. You want to play Thursday, I'm in. You want to play Saturday afternoon, I'm in, so
Ready for
I have my availability, and I update it every week in Acuity Scheduling, which is our scheduling system. And then, I'm going to have you'll be able to check my availability, and you talk with the other players. Everybody's going to have one character. You can have a backup planned, but oh, hello, Mr. Bailey.
Hello, we got a
Oh,
surprise guest.
Bailey, don't put your butthole in the camera, please. All right,
Bailey, I'm in love with you already. You can stay.
Oh, yes. Hello.
No.
Say hi to Lexi. Say hi
Hello.
to Lexi. Over here.
Hi,
Over here.
Bailey.
Hey,
Hi, Bailey.
oh, you're in my headset, so he's not hearing you, unfortunately. Sorry
Oh.
about that.
No,
Yeah, and he was like, "Hello, I'm here to bless you," and now I have to leave.
yeah, that
I
was
have
really it, though. That was what a blessing. I love cats.
Yeah, he's like, I have important kitten business to take care of. So
Oh, it's so
yeah,
cool. I think that's but back to what you were saying, I think that is such a cool way to find collaboration between the players and the GM it's kind of it's a little bit of equal creativity on both sides and a little bit of give and take, which I really like. Like they can, create their groups when they want to play and then just reach out to you, and it's so much more smooth than I think gaming can be a lot of times, finding time.
I agree. I have not run a game like this before, but I'm very excited to do it, because right now, while we're still all dealing with hashtag pandemic life, I have a lot of time on my hands. So
Yeah.
like, this is great. I could do a whole bunch of this right now. When the world reopens and I have to run my theater every day, I might only have a certain window of time, but I still want to be doing this even when the world reopens. So
Yeah.
like, hopefully we can keep it going.
Hey, like it's one of those blessings in disguise, as we were talking about with all the hardships. It's like time to build up that muscle of like, oh, what is it like to do this work for myself, and to be able to collaborate with other awesome people who also have found themselves with a lot of time they need to burn.
Absolutely.
So it's
Absolutely. So we've got, and this is a very player-driven kind of campaign, because the players get to pick which plot hook they want to follow. They tell me where they want to go on the map. Now, when you tell me where you want to go on the map, you can't just randomly change it, because I'm preparing a specific set of encounters based on that. So know for certain that this is what you want to do,
of course.
or if you say that, or you're going to wind up going with the flow. And like I said, this happens to be very deadly. So if I get fed up, I might just say, the rocks fall, everybody dies. There's your encounter. No, I'm not going to do that.
No, I feel like the mentality of it. I mean, that sounds so bad, but I am a fan of there being a challenge, or of there being some solid risk whenever you're going in. For anything, it's how you build, right? It's how you really learn, is when you're in those difficult situations where there are consequences. So it's cool. It's cool to bring that element of the old D&D back into
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I like the fact that stupidity is painful in this, and then sometimes the smart thing is also the painful thing to do. But for the most part, stupidity is what's painful, from what I've noticed. So
that's life, right? Like sometimes both.
So this is really a look before you leap kind of scenario, because if you don't look before you leap, you're going to wind up jumping into a pit full of spikes, with zombies impaled upon them that are then going to eat you while they're stuck on a zombie shish kebab kind of situation, and then the acid blob is going to fall on you, and your bones will be bleached and sitting there for all eternity. It's going to look like the old what was it? The Dragon Warrior, I think, was the video game in the arcade that it cost like $1 to play, and you'd sit there and you get to play like 5 seconds and then you were dead.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but the person who could last 10 seconds, they were a thriller to watch, right?
They were a god. Yes, It's so true.
So you kind of just got into the style of this game, but is there anything you want to elaborate on that, other than the interpersonal and just the awareness players need to have? Is there anything you want to add?
Well, like I said, this is a game where you're gonna want to be cognizant of the fact that you are not going to be dealing with scaled encounters.
Mm-hmm.
So you might be fighting one goblin, you might be fighting a whole regiment at once. There is that. I recently also backed on Kickstarter this thing called the Grim and Deliberate Beast, which is an AI system for monster tactics and aggression,
Oh wow.
based that varies based on the circumstances of the battle. So it's not like and as a monster's aggression level changes, it changes their tactics accordingly. And everything goes from just before the surprise round all the way through to either the eventual victory or loss. So it's like everything can change round to round. These are nasty. These are nasty, gnarly tactics. These make the monsters really smart.
Yes.
I was experimenting with them with this the other night on the Brute Squad, dealing with when they ran into a whole bunch of goblin graffiti artists that were tagging buildings in the town that they live in, and I dropped two of my players in the first round. So it was just like, I mean, it's a party of 7, so it wasn't like anybody was in that much danger. I still have to amp things up a bit just to challenge them. But it was like, oh, this is effective, and they were like, wait, what do you mean the goblins know what they're doing? What do you mean they're using hit and run tactics, sniping us from behind barrels instead of coming up and fighting us and dying on our swords? They're supposed to jump onto my spear tip. That's what they do,
Yeah.
This looks terrible. Never mind. I'm not going to do that. That's
I got the dead on the spear right away. Gosh,
yeah.
That
good. I'm glad.
I think that we can get accustomed to things going a certain way, or like, oh, we're going to be facing this type of villain, and I've done it 1,000 times, so it'll be like this. And I think there is such value to switching that up a little bit and throwing it in there. I mean, when you're dealing with thinking beings, right, it's never going to be one thing that works all the time. So that's
Agreed.
really cool. It's so cool to add in that like realism to it.
Yeah, I want to make things where it's like nothing is predictable.
Yeah.
Nothing is predictable, and that actions have consequences, which also leads into my next point, that this is going to be a persistent world campaign, and this is going to be a lot of upkeep and a lot of note taking on my part, but I'm prepared to do it. I'm very excited at this. Basically, when you go into the Barrow Maze, or if anything, you encounter anything else within this world, you kick in a door in the dungeon. When the next party comes through, that door will still be busted down, or it might have been patched up with a new monster moving into the room behind it, hiding behind that door. But, like, you will see the progress of other parties before you.
Yeah.
And the impact that they've had,
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. That's really cool. I like that. I like that. Like a continual stream of events, and everything is kind of interconnected, which is a lot more. It's a lot more work for you to do. So, cheers to you for doing that.
Yep. Well, part of it is I'm gonna hopefully be. I really want to live stream a bunch of these. If all the players consent, if people consent, I will definitely be live streaming these and having people jump in. And who knows? I have a lot of friends out here in Hollywood. I might be able to persuade a geek celebrity cameo or two every once in a while. Knock on wood. That's an idea that just popped into my head. So if that works, awesome. And if it doesn't, don't at me. Yeah, I think if I can. If I have it streamed, it helps me because I can go back and literally watch the videotape and be like, what did I do here? And do my upkeep and notes after the fact. And each session would be about 2 to 3 hours. So, you watch that on YouTube at 2 times speed. It's like, oh, okay, you could burn through this pretty quick, So
yeah, and it's a lot to keep up with. It really is a benefit to have that second check to go back and be like, oh yeah, I did say this here, and we have this little detail that I was missing out on, and it makes overall a better player experience and a DM experience, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, what I want is at the end of this for everybody to really to know intimately what the Barrows are like and what the town is like and what the characters are like, and really just own this with me. That would be the ideal, because the other thing about a West Marches game is that a lot of D&D games, you can have this mentality of DM versus players versus DM, where one has to win and the other has to lose in order to win Dungeons and Dragons, which is not really a thing. In a West Marches game, I'm just an arbiter. I'm just a referee. All of my roles are going to be in the open, So whatever happens, happens. If I crit and you die, I crit and you die. If you guys one shot the lich, you one shot the lich. Like we're gonna play this with open rolls, and it's gonna go as it goes. And this is gonna be. I'm used to trying to have like a much more epic narrative focused on certain characters and stuff like that. But because when it comes to something like this, where it's a much larger scale thing, it's going to be a little bit more true to life, where maybe not everything ties up so neatly, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think that could be a lot of fun to mess with, because this is what distinguishes a campaign like this from something like the Adventurers League, where the Adventurers League everybody plays has a character in the same world and plays all the same modules, and has everybody works to experience the same story, but they do that as if they're the only party doing it,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Whereas, you know, you go into a con and there's 10 tables of the same module being run at any given moment. This is everybody's going to have unique experiences. And then what they do is they go back and tell everybody else in the Discord what they found out, what they've learned. And eventually what's going to happen is that you guys are going to piece together this epic storyline of why the dead are rising from the barrows and coming back to haunt the swamp. And it's gotten to be so bad that the dead are no longer contained to the barrows. The dead are starting to affect the surrounding areas. So this is so there's a big mystery here that people are going to have to solve. You know, who's raising the dead and why, and how can you stop it? And there might be some crazy BS in here, like a freaking Dracolich or something at the end. Who knows? I haven't looked that far, but like, you know, I'm hearing big things.
Some
So
fun surprises for sure.
so gonna be lots of fun surprises. And and the other way that the characters can help me and help themselves is I'm going to give out in-game benefits to PCs, in-game mechanical benefits and stat benefits to PCs who submit after action reports, who do like session write-ups. Doesn't have to be terribly long. You know, it could be bullet points or whatever, but you submit to the Discord what happened in your session, what you guys learned, and I give you perks the next time you play.
That's
You know?
awesome. What a sweet deal for the player. I love that.
Yeah, well, you know, I think it'll help encourage player communication and get players helping each other out and talking to each other. And I think like once we really get the ball rolling, I don't even think I'm gonna have to be putting up new jobs or plot hooks or anything like that. People are gonna be like, "Oh my god, I want to go back and check out room 27 and figure out why the hell I can't get that door to open." You know, and it's like, yeah, exactly. So I'm like, awesome. Like, let's see if you survive getting to room 27 and back. Like, okay, cool. You know.
I love that. I love how much freedom that the gamer has to make their own choices and to go explore like totally unthought of options. I know you've said that this is a super player driven game. Did you just want to elaborate that? We've done a bit, but if you wanted to add anything more.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, each session is going to be a bespoke set of encounters. No two games are going to be alike.
Yes.
You know, like when you tell me that you want to go into the barrows and that you want to go check out room 27, for instance. I don't know why it's 27, but we're picking 27. Yeah, exactly. That's where you guys have gotten. And then there's this door, you know, that has a keyhole, but there's no key. Well, 3 weeks ago, somebody else might have found the key, and they might have talked about it in the Discord. And either they might be rallying a table to go back and see if the key fits in the keyhole, or somebody else could be coming back going like, "Oh my god, I found this door. We can't figure out how to open it." Dude with the key goes, "Oh, hey, I might have found this." And then you guys can form your own table to go off and do it. So we've had 3 separate adventures to open one door, which I think is kind of a really cool thing, where it takes collaborative progress, or it takes a collaboration in order to progress the story. But yeah, players will be the ones sharing information. I will not be correcting it if people get things wrong, by the way. I know what's real and I know what's right, so I'm going to run the campaign with according to what's actually correct. But you know, you always see those things where the PCs have their like, they're so close, and then the DM is always like, I want to help out, and so sometimes they'll drop a hint or an NPC. I'm not none of that.
Yeah,
if you guys think it,
it's so tempting.
Yeah.
But it does. It makes it for a more in-depth and real, like true to life game and adventure to not be able to have those free passes, so to say.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's where the importance of the collaboration goes in. And that's why I think Discord is going to be such a key here, is people being able to share information and collaborate on developing a map of the area, a map of the
Yeah.
region. That's another thing I'm not going to correct. I want you guys to be keeping track of all that stuff. I have Fog of War permanently enabled on all the maps. So it's like, you will know roughly where you are,
Yep. And
but
then
you
you have
guys
to
have to.
navigate.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
literally, like the barrows are encased in a permanent fog all the time, so you have to like navigate your way there. You could
Wow.
get lost in the barrows, and there are undead and other monsters walking in the barrows, so you might have a whole bunch of random encounters. You could set out to go to the barrow maze and never even make it, and still have a full adventure and
Yeah.
go back.
It's almost like
So
going in blind. It's like you have to use everyone else to be like, all right, are we gonna go? Are we gonna keep going? I mean, figuratively and in the game, you're blind, right? You can't see the enemy, so I like that dynamic.
yeah, you
Really,
will you will find them. I mean, you could see for about 30 feet around you, so they're practically on top of you by the time you see something. So that I think also adds to the element of danger. It's like, oh, you see a shape in the fog. Is that another? Is that a zombie? Is that a skeleton? Is that another adventuring party that's out raiding tombs? And are they good or bad adventurers? Like
yeah,
there's, or could it be the Dracolich? Who knows? I mean, like there's
risk, real
yeah,
question.
there's risk and reward to be had, and on top of that, there's also like trade caravans that need to go to nearby towns where you have to deal with lizard folk that try to raid them, or there's you can also I know that spider silk is considered to be incredibly strong and possibly magical in terms of its properties. Where if you have things that are woven out of spider silk, they have extra AC or extra damage, or like other crazy elements to them. And there are spider silk weavers that need people to go out and harvest the silk from the forest to the north. So you could be out. You could say, I don't want to fight zombies today. Let's go take on giant spiders instead. It's like
Yeah,
there's so much going on, and then it's like, oh well, we haven't heard from the dwarves down in the mountain range recently. I wonder what's going on down there. Like, does anybody want to go send an envoy and just see what's going on? Like, and on top of that, in a West Marches game, the rule is that town is always safe unless you're dealing with a very special episode. And the very special episode will be something that it's like, hi guys, I'm running a session at noon on Saturday. All players available who want to come in should muster because something is happening in town. And then I run in, and I at that point I drive the event. And usually that would be prompted. Something like that would be prompted by something, or would be precipitated by something happening in the barrows, where it's like, oh damn, they broke the seal on the coffin, and now and now the giant mecha ghoul is out and is storming about the town, and is coming to reclaim the scarab that they took or something. I don't know. I'm pulling stuff
yeah,
out of
yeah.
my rear here, but like, if there's going to be an event in town, it's going to be a very, very, very special thing. But there's still intrigue, and there are factions in town that you can get involved with and get different bits of information from, and different people have different bits of info, and that's another place where the players can sit and collaborate. It's like, well, the barmaid told me this, well, the crazy wizard told me this, and that evil druid in the forest to the north knows something. We should go talk to her. So it's just there's a wonderfully huge storyline happening here, and all these factions interlink. And I'm really excited to see how this scales on something like a West Marches kind of event. But this is also the importance of having the after action reports and the details to share, because this way you're basically building a campaign wiki.
Yes, yes,
You
yes. It's
know,
so interconnected. It's so
yeah.
cool. I love all that.
So
So you've hit on this a lot, but I want to go into it even more. And this is, how do players organize their information, organize tables, share information, and schedule sessions? So we've kind of just talked a whole lot about
sure. No.
that.
Oh yeah. No. I will. Let's get in. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Mastermind Adventures has a Discord server
Yes.
for the GMs for hire. They also have one for all the school programs and everything. It's a separate server altogether. But there is a Discord server that you can join. You go down to where it says Greg's channels, And underneath there, let me pull it up real quick because I have a whole bunch of stuff set up. I might reorganize this a little bit, but I have a channel that says Get Started, and in the Get Started channel, it has all of the information that you need to get set up with a character. You have it explains what OS March's game is. Oh, I should go in and take out the old tavern name and put in the new tavern name. But
you're always
yeah.
on it. Yes.
Oh, like I'm just looking at this now, going like, oh, I wrote all this stuff before I changed the tavern name. That's important. I just remember watching Kristen kind of die inside a little bit when I mentioned that the tavern was named the Brazen Strumpet. So so now it's now like I said, now it's the Early Grave. I thought that was kind of appropriate for a tavern built on a graveyard.
Yeah, especially you go get your missions. I think that's even funner because you're getting into some real stuff. Like go into the Early Grave to get my quest.
Yep, exactly. So, and it's just like, oh, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna, and there's just something about going drinking at the Early Grave that I just find to be like darkly funny.
I like
so you get on here, you go through the Get Started channel, you read everything over. It'll tell you how to book a session, it'll tell you how to create a character, all the character guidelines are in there. It'll have all the information about the deities, because the Pantheon is different here than standard Forgotten Realms, and it's different here because it's very plot centric. There might be very special episodes where I'm running encounters at various seasonal or religious festivals happening within the different towns. So if people want to jump in and play that, who knows? And sometimes it's not going to be stuff out of Barrows that are causing all the problems, because one of the things I like about this campaign is that there is the town is kind of like very backwater. The main town called Helix is very backwater, very small. It's kind of like Moss Isley in the sense that it is a wretched hive of scum and villainy where everybody comes out to get rich or die trying. Yes. But this is also like the ass end of the world where people go to hide and escape their former lives and then try to make money through, less than safe or sometimes even legal means.
Money, all those fun things.
Yeah, exactly. But out here, they worship the old gods. And folks who've come in from the larger civilizations have brought the new gods with them. And there's a conflict between the faiths. Between worshipers of the old and worshipers of the new. The folks who worship Saint Yig and some of these other newer deities look at these backwater people as like, this is backwards. This is you're heretics. How could you be worshiping the Green Man still? And when they have a festival for the Green Man, even though the Church of Saint Yig is supposed to be like good aligned, what if some true believers decide to disrupt the festival? Or there's going to be some, like I said, craziness and intrigue happening with this on all levels. And then let's not even get into the evil cults running around, because there's at least 2 of them last I looked.
Fun. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So I've got the Get Started channel. That's where everybody go through, read that info, get set up. It's got the links to the D&D Beyond and the Roll20 in there as well, so everybody can get set up and registered. I have the Bounty board, which is just a virtual announcement board that is literally the job board on the wall outside of the Early Grave Tavern. I have the Early Grave itself set up where you can go in, and if I'm in there, you could role play with me as different characters. I will try to have office hours, basically, where I'm in there, and I will roll to see which character I'm repping at any given moment, and I could have a plot hook. I could just be in there talking BS with people, and just having a good time. But I will try to have office hours at least once a week for an hour or 2 where I'm in there role playing with people. But in the meantime, you guys can use that yourselves to sit, compare notes, compare information, collaborate on a map, whatever. I also have a Scabbard account set up, which is a legitimate literal campaign wiki that I will be providing links to for players, so you guys can go in and put in, build out information that you have on the various characters and work on that collaborative map and everything else. So players will be given access to the Scabbard account. There's the Hall of Records, which is just a virtual place where it's got the link to the Scabbard, but that's also where people can post their after action reports. You put them there where they're publicly accessible, and I use that to keep track of and give you your in-game bennies for providing us. You share your info, and I will give you in-game bennies. There's the mustering channel, and that's when it's like, so when it's like, okay, let's figure out how to schedule this. Like, I've got, my level 5 rogue wants to go into the barrows. Who's available? Mm-hmm. And I'm always going to encourage that people change up who they play with. I don't want people playing, at one point I want this to get big enough where there's going to be kind of like an unofficial rule where you can play with the same group of people twice in a row, but after that you should change it up. Because I want people to, I want there to be diversity at the tables and people changing who they play with, and that might mean that you might have a party of 4 white mages going out, that's a reference to 8-bit theater, where they made the joke. It's a Final Fantasy comic, but they made the joke of reading the old Nintendo Power Strategy Guide, going, a party of 4 white mages, that would never work, and then at the end of the strip, like 10 years and 300 strips later, that's who saved the world. So that I was like, oh, that was amazing. I mean, they literally played the long game with that joke. It's one of the best. I know I just spoiled it. Sorry. One of the best online comic payoffs I've ever seen, though. Like, literally, it was such a deep cut. I had to go back and reread, like, the original strips from 10 years before to be like, wait. Oh my God, like, they really did it. But those
are the best pieces that make you come back and you're like, hold on a second and look at all this stuff I missed, especially like this big I missed the whole joke at the end.
Absolutely. So so you could have a table that's all fighters agree to go out and just go have a tank party, or you could put together your party of the 4 adventuring food groups and go out and feed yourselves to a dragon. I mean, like, I want there to be unlimited party flexibility here, but like I said, every player is limited to 1 active character. You can have an alt waiting in the wings, so just ready to go in case you get eaten by a grue, perhaps, which might happen. It is dark in places. You could be eaten by a grue.
Yes.
Yeah. But the you can't use your alt until your character is either dead or permanently retired. That's my rule, because I don't want people having like 25 characters that I need to keep track of. It's like you get 1 and you can have your backup concept ready to go. So
I like that. Good rule to stick to as well. And it's really cool I think the rule about having different parties is good too, because I think something we struggle with is like finding new communities or getting a little bit stuck in the same. It's such a good way to meet people is gaming and like at people who have the common interests, but we do, just human nature. We get stuck in our ways and we don't want to try new things. So that's
absolutely
people. Yeah.
Well, and I'm running my first table tonight. I'm actually going to live stream it. I'm running my first table of Barrow Maze tonight at 7:00 Pacific. I put it out on Facebook last night saying, hey, who wants to play? And I have 4 players tonight, all from different walks of life. For all from different parts of my life, who have never met each other before, and they're all going to be sitting at a table tonight, playing. And I am here for it. Like, there are going to be 4 strangers going into this dungeon together, and they have no idea what they're in for. And I'm like, all right, let's do this. So this is very much like the root of what I'm looking to experience here is to have everybody have a fun collaborative experience over 2 to 3 hours and just have a great time. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's so cool. Let's see. So we had a few more questions that just kind of go into like character building. Like for instance, how would you create a character in this world?
Well, I've set up a D&D Beyond instance that has all the proper resources shared. I mean, we're going to allow Xanthar's, Tasha's, the Tortle package, and the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide in addition to the Player's Handbook. So that's 5 different resources that you can use to create your character. I might be convinced to eventually allow 1 grung above. I have played it with grung at the table, and I think those are kind of fun, but I want to save some stuff to unlock. And I'm also not allowing anything outside of those sources because, I have to go with what I have available, so it's easy for me to reference. But like that's a lot of flexibility, especially if I'm saying that you're allowed to use the alternate character creation rules in Tasha's. I also say that you need to use the default array to determine your stats, just because it keeps everybody relatively accurate, relatively the same in terms of power level and stuff like that. So when you say that you have a level 5 wizard, everybody goes, oh, okay, I have roughly idea of where you're going to be. As opposed to, and also I can't, not that anybody would ever do this, but I want to be able to verify people's stats, because somebody sitting down with 3 18s on their character sheet, sometimes you go, really?
Yeah.
Not that I know.
This is your domain.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just like, I want to keep everybody kind of relatively in the same ballpark in terms of power and abilities. So being like, all right, keep your stats to the default array also makes it easier for me to go in and just verify things. But with the alternate stat bonuses allowed in Tasha's and things like that, you really do have a lot of flexibility with that. You can reallocate your, you could be a dwarf with +2 dex instead of +2 con. It's like there's just like, it gives you a lot to be able to play with. So so there's that. And like I said, you go into well, I want people to talk about their characters and deal with character creation and stuff like that in the barracks, which is another sub channel in the in the Discord. So that was one of the channels I didn't mention. The other one I didn't mention was the Out of Game Hangout. So if people just want to like shoot the stuff together as players, you jump into Out of Game Hangout. And then there's Brutes Talk and Brutes in the Shackled City is the voice channel. That's for Monday nights. I actually have a chat room going for people on Discord to come and hang out and watch the Brute Squad play and talk about what's going on in the Shackled City Adventure Path, which is the other big ass thick campaign book that I'm running right now. So awesome. I found out I bought this when it was first published in 2003, and I'm finding out now like this retails for $250 now if you can find it. Like I'm like, ooh, that's yeah.
Crazy.
Too bad
I adore that you have them all handy, that you can just like pull them out when ready.
Oh yeah. I'm like, keep everything within arm's reach right now. And then I got my whole shelf of all my 5e stuff back here. So it's like, but I also have it all digital on D&D Beyond because I'm that kind of dork, where it's like, why turn around and flip through the book if I can just search engine it, So yeah, keyboard cowboy.
I you during like a really intense game with a swivel chair. I don't know if you're on a swivel chair in your office that you're in right now, like kicking back and grabbing the manuals and getting everything. Like,
that's every Monday night. Every Monday night on Twitch. Yeah, twitch.tv/Mastermind Adventures. That's me running with the Brutes. That's how that works.
Then you need to get over there on the Twitch.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely come out and check it out. And this is going to be just to continue on here. This is going to be a week. We've set it up where there's a special weekly subscription membership model right now that gets you a certain amount of hours every week. Awesome. And you can use that to book with me. And if you don't use your hours, they roll over to the next week. So you can actually set it up where you can have like, if you want to have 1 week where we book 3 sessions, if we're both available for 3 sessions, awesome. You wait a couple of weeks, save it up, and bam, 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 you knock it out. But a weekly subscription model, you get at least 2 to 3 hours a week to play, like at least 1 session to play a week. Your hours roll over. And my goal here is to build a robust and thriving community of anywhere from 10 to 50 adventurers where I could be running. I mean, my dream would be to be running a session of this every day.
Yes.
Except Mondays, because Mondays are Brutes Day and Mondays are for the Brute Squad. But 6 days a week, I want to be running. I want to be running Barrow Maze for people and having people come out. And I want to see how fast we could tear through this thing. Because here's the other thing: Dr. Greg Gillespie has, who wrote the Barrow Maze, has 3 more of these mega dungeons ready to go. So it's like, even if you guys tear through this, and even if you guys find the hidden module that I've buried in a set of ancient ruins that may or may not be hiding somewhere in the southeast quadrant of the map, if you guys find that and you even tear through all that,
there's more.
There's 3 other mega dungeons that all exist within the same general world, and I will just like, we beat this one, we go on to the next one.
Keep going.
Like I want to keep this thing going. There's gonna be mystery and craziness for everybody. So yeah, I'm ready, dude. I want to do this so bad. I got my GM shirt all decorated. I'm like, I got. You gotta, like they say, dress for the job that you want. So I've got here, bad decisions make good stories, is what that says. So
that's awesome. You
Yeah.
have the passion, Greg. You have the passion. You're making it happen. I think like people are just gonna have so much fun playing in this world and just having the luxury of getting you to guide them. It really is such a gift.
Oh,
So
that is too kind. I appreciate that. I'm excited to do this. I hope the players are excited to experience this as well. I'm ready. I hope you are. Like let's all sit down, strap in, and hold on because it's gonna be a bumpy ride. I'm ready to go. You
I
know?
can feel it. I'm ready for you. So just a few closing things, just so
Sure,
everyone
sure.
how they can connect with you. So when we've touched on it a little bit, but how is a player going to sign up for you with you for your games?
All right. So there is, if you go to mastermindadventures.com/barrowmaze, that's how you can set up your subscription.
Mm-hmm.
And then you jump into the Discord, and you go through, you read everything and get started, and you start getting all that stuff done. You get your character registered and approved, and then you get access to the bounty board, you get access to the early grave, and you get access to the mustering channel, and then from there, like let's roll. So yeah, sign up through mastermindadventures.com/barrowmaze, get your subscription set up, join the Discord, get your character made, and start talking to folks, and then pick a plot hook, pick a time you want to go, and let's go delving.
Awesome. Sweet. So how much would this cost? Is there different price ranges for different packages?
Right now, we've got a simple weekly subscription. I'm doing a couple of freebies right now with people just to kind of get just like a feel for it and get some momentum going. But I don't think I'm going to be offering them much past March. The freebies. I think it's going to be. We'll see how fast this picks up. But right now it's looking like it's gonna be about $20 a week, which is good for at least one session a week, 1 2 to 3 hour session a week. And like I said, if you can't play with a particular week, your hours carry over.
Oh,
so you could have like you missed last week, but we can do 2 sessions the next week, provided our schedules line up. And I'm trying to keep my calendar pretty wide open right now, except for Mondays. So you got Tuesday through Sunday to schedule something with me and make it happen. Like if I have a player from Europe who messaged me last night who was like, I want to play, I want a table. I'm literally 10 hours ahead of you. What can we work out? And I said, I will play a table. Or I will. He's 8 hours ahead. I think he might be. I guess he's in London. But I said, I will run a table at 11 a.m. on Tuesday, my time, for you, if that's 8 o'clock your time, or 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock your time. And not only that, I will muster a party for you, because I don't know anybody else that plays in your time zone, but I'll get a party together for you. And I will get a group together, and then within 12 hours, I had a full table ready to go. So he's going to be, this guy doesn't know it yet, but he's going to be playing with some of the best GMs Mastermind has to offer, because I told them because even the GMs here have been like, I want to get in on this. How do I play? So
yes,
you might be rolling dice with some of the Mastermind staffers who on their day off from not running games, they're playing games with us guys. That's pretty damn cool.
So true. So true.
Yeah.
What better group can you ask for to start off with? Darn, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm stoked for that. This guy has no idea what I've got in store for him. I'm really psyched for it. I think this is going to be just a blast. So the more folks, the better. And yeah, I don't mind playing at running a game at 11 o'clock in the morning. I don't mind running a game at 2 o'clock in the morning if that helps your time zone. Like that like I will make it work. I'm also a night owl, so that helps out a lot. I have a harder time with 11 a.m. than I do 2 a.m.
Yeah. Greg's ready. So, he's ready for anything. He's just here.
Make it. I drink about 3 of these a day, so this is just espresso with cream. So
for you people, I went over there. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Okay, so before we just go over one last time how people can contact you, get in touch with you, is there anything you want to add that we didn't touch on, or anything you wanted to elaborate on further?
I think just this is a little different this is definitely a different kind of experience than your standard D&D game. If you haven't played in a West Marches game before, the expectations are a little different. It's very similar to Adventurers League, but still there are nuances that are different. The after action reports are part of that. Also unscaled encounters. I can't emphasize that enough. These encounters are unscaled. Mm-hmm. That means there are going to be times when running is the best option. So you can easily find yourselves in over your head. The other thing is that there are save or suck spells in this, and I'm not going to pull punches on those. Save or suck, save or die. It's like you have one. You got to make your DC 10 roll right now, or you're insta dead. Like not even death saves, insta dead. Like you're disintegrated. So there's going to be there are some aspects of this that are brutal. So just be aware of that going in. Recognize that this is not your standard D&D campaign. This is going to be a little bit more brutal, and just have a backup concept ready to go. And I will be keeping track of the average level of players within the player pool, because I want so it's not like, oh my god, I died. I had my level 10 character just died, and everybody else is like at least level 7. I'm not going to make you re-roll level 1 when we get to that point. That's way down the line, but we'll be able to. You might be a little behind the curve. I might make you re-roll a level 3 or a level 5 as opposed to a level 1, if depending on where we are. But this is this is positively Gygaxian. And folks who have played enough D&D will understand that just means that it's gonna be there are some elements about this that are rough. So it's like you want to make sure that you're or brutal, I should say, not rough. I mean, they're brutal in the sense that it's like, okay, yeah, death is going to be common. PC death is going to be common, and there's the potential for it is high. So as long as people are aware of that going in, and are open to that kind of experience, there's going to be a real thrill here. Because the GM is not going to be shepherding you along. The GM is going to be neutral arbiter, and like I said, all the roles are going to be in the open. So what happens.
Yes. Hey, and I love that. I think that is so needed, and there's such an avenue for people who just want to get in, get their hands dirty, and go crazy, and just say, hey, what is this adventure to the max, like as down and dirty as I can get, and as like real as I can make it. So I think that's you're gonna have a lot of people looking forward to that opportunity, I'm sure.
I hope so. And I'm psyched for it, and I can't wait to just have my like conspiracy theory board of like, okay, well, this party did this and this guy did that. This guy knows this, that links over here and everything. Yeah, just I can't wait for that. So I can't wait to start developing this. And I hope you out there watching this on the internet, I hope you will come along and join us for the ride, because this is gonna be fun. I'm stoked.
That is awesome. I think it's going to be so much fun. Greg, you're an amazing GM. You're just an amazing creator and artist in itself. I think people are going to have so much fun gaming with you. One last time, just for people who haven't heard yet, or maybe just coming for the close, how can people get in touch with you, and how can they start gaming with you ASAP?
All right. Well, you can find me. I'm at Gregory Crafts on pretty much every platform. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. I think I even have an ill-advised TikTok account. Like there's, so on social media, I'm pretty much at Gregory Crafts. I'm also find me at gregorycrafts.com. But my email is gcrafts@mastermindadventures.com. And you can also get information about the Barrow Maze at mastermind.com or mastermindadventures.com/Barrow Maze. So you sign up there. You join us on Discord, and yeah, come on out and play with us, guys. I'm ready, and yeah, find me, chat with me, hit me up. Let's get you in here. Let's get a character built, and let's get you out killing some zombies. All right?
Yes, love it. And on that note, Greg Crafts, everybody, thank you for joining us, and we will see you every Tuesday, Thursday to get meeting our epic GMs, talking to these awesome people, and just knowing more about us, knowing when you can play. All right, so bye, everybody.